the mirror. It's smiling at me with his face. Asuna's scream echoed through the crystalline halls of the glass palace, her reflection distorting into a nightmarish visage. The once pristine surfaces now seemed to writhe with malevolent energy, each pane a portal to some twisted dimension where beauty and horror intertwined in a sickening dance. The raid party had entered Floor 22's glass palace with high hopes and steeled nerves. Asuna, her rapier gleaming at her side, led the charge alongside Klaus, a player whose charm was as polished as the mirrored walls surrounding them. His smile never wavered, even as the first crystalline monster shattered against his shield, spraying razor-sharp shards across the group. "Remember, friends," Klaus had said, his voice smooth as silk. "We're here to purify this place. Only the worthy will survive." Those words haunted Asuna now as she watched Klaus's reflection in a fractured mirror, his handsome features twisting into something inhuman. She blinked, and the image was gone, replaced by her own hollow-eyed visage, skin pale and drawn tight across her cheekbones. The glass palace was a labyrinth of horrors, each turn revealing new nightmares. Asuna's boots crunched over a carpet of broken glass, the fragments crunching and grinding with each step. The sound reminded her of teeth gnashing, of bones being ground to dust. She shuddered, remembering the fate of Makoto, the first to fall to Klaus's madness. It had happened so fast. One moment, Makoto was examining a strange, pulsing crystal formation. The next, Klaus had shoved her forward, directly into the maw of a crystalline beast that had materialized from the walls. Asuna could still hear Makoto's screams as the monster's glass teeth tore through her avatar, pixelated blood spraying across the mirrored floor. "She wasn't worthy," Klaus had said, that infernal smile never leaving his face. "The weak must be culled for the strong to thrive." Asuna's grip tightened on her rapier, knuckles white with tension. She could feel the weight of Klaus's gaze on her back, heavy and expectant. He was watching, always watching, waiting for a moment of weakness to exploit. The party had dwindled from 12 to 3 in the span of hours. Besides Asuna and Klaus, only Ren remained, a quiet swordsman whose eyes darted nervously between the mirrors. Asuna caught glimpses of his reflection, saw the fear etched into every line of his face. She wondered if her own expression mirrored his terror. "Look," Ren whispered, pointing to a shimmering archway ahead. "Could that be the boss room?" Asuna nodded, her throat too dry to speak. As they approached, she saw their reflections twist and warp, stretching into grotesque parodies of themselves. Her own image seemed to reach out, fingers elongating into razor-sharp claws that scraped against the inside. Asuna's mind raced, memories flashing before her eyes. She remembered the day she'd first logged into Sword Art Online, full of hope and excitement. She remembered the moment Kayaba Akihiko had revealed the true nature of the death game, the terror that had gripped her heart. And she remembered every life she'd taken since then, each kill etched into her soul like cracks in a mirror. "I'm no more worthy than anyone else," Asuna spat, raising her rapier. "But I won't let you decide who lives and who dies." Klaus's laughter echoed through the hall as he drew his own weapon, a wicked blade that seemed to drink in the light. "Oh, but I will. I am the prince of this realm, and you, my dear, are nothing but a common peasant playing at nobility." Their blades met in a shower of sparks, the clash reverberating through the mirrored chamber. Asuna's rapier was a blur of motion, each thrust aimed at Klaus's vital points. But he was fast, impossibly fast, his sword always there to parry her attacks. As they fought, the mirrors around them came alive. Asuna saw herself reflected 1,000 times over, each image showing a different version of herself. In one, she was a hollow-eyed corpse, skin hanging loose from her bones. In another, she was a monstrous creature, more beast than human. And in yet another, she saw herself as Klaus saw her, weak, unworthy, destined to die. Klaus pressed his advantage, driving Asuna back with a flurry of strikes. His blade sliced through the air, missing her throat by mere millimeters. She could feel the wind of its passage, could almost taste the cold steel on her tongue. "You're slowing down, my dear," Klaus taunted, his perfect teeth bared in a feral grin. "Perhaps it's time to accept your fate." Asuna's back hit a mirror, the cold surface sending shivers down her spine. She saw her reflection behind her, eyes wide with fear, and beyond that, she saw Klaus advancing, his blade raised for the killing blow. Time seemed to slow. Asuna saw the arc of Klaus's sword, calculated its trajectory. She saw the crystal golem materializing behind him, its faceted body glinting in the pale light. And in that moment, she made her choice. With a cry that tore from the depths of her soul, Asuna ducked under Klaus's swing. His blade shattered the mirror behind her, sending a cascade of razor-sharp fragments raining down. Asuna rolled, ignoring the glass that cut into her skin, and came up behind Klaus just as the crystal golem attacked. Klaus turned, his eyes widening in surprise as he saw the golem bearing down on him. But it was too late. The monster's crystalline fist smashed into his chest, sending him flying back into the broken mirror. Asuna watched in horror as Klaus's body was impaled on a jagged shard of glass. His avatar flickered, pixels scattering like dust in the wind. But even as he died, that infernal smile never left his face. "You'll never scrub the blood off your slippers," Klaus whispered, his voice fading along with his body. And then he was gone, leaving Asuna alone in the shattered remains of the glass palace. The silence that followed was deafening. Asuna stood there, her body trembling, as the reality of what had just happened washed over her. She had survived, but at what cost? How many lives had been lost in this twisted fairy tale? Slowly, painfully, Asuna made her way back through the labyrinth of mirrors. Each reflection showed her a different version of herself, some beautiful, some monstrous, all bearing the weight of what she had done. As she reached the entrance to the glass palace, Asuna paused, catching sight of her reflection one last time. For a moment, just a moment, she thought she saw Klaus's smile on her own face, a reminder of the darkness that now lived within her. Asuna stepped out of the glass palace, leaving behind the shattered remains of her innocence. But as she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed her out, something that lived in the mirrors and whispered of beauty and death. In the days that followed, Asuna found herself avoiding mirrors, averting her eyes from any reflective surface. But sometimes, in the corner of her eye, she would catch a glimpse of movement, a flash of that terrible smile. And she knew, deep in her heart, that the curse of the glass palace would haunt her forever, a constant reminder of the price of survival in this world of death and despair. The glass slipper's curse had claimed its final victim, and Asuna Yuuki would never be the same again.